Alright folks, how we doing today? As you can't tell by the view, we're obviously in a different piece of equipment this morning. This is our Tiger Cat feller buncher. Yeah, I run it too when I get a chance. Not very often, but I do. Got everything feller bunched on this unit that it was going to get. Now the hand cutters are in there finishing up, and then obviously the hand cutters are having to cut the yarder unit because it's just way too steep. Anyway, so walking this thing out, I'm going to put it on a lowboy. I thought I'd take you guys on a little bit of a tour of it. If you probably obviously can hear that it's a lot quieter in here than it is in them log loaders. They do a pretty good job of making sure these things are insulated real well. You can't hardly hear the motor or nothing like that at all, which is, I mean, you can hear it well enough as an operator to know what's going on, which is nice, but it's not super loud either. I'm trying to crowd the road right now. We're getting a pretty good hump right in the middle, so I'm going to try to walk right up the side, knock this hump down a little bit. The rear ends on our log trucks are starting to drag the road. Anyway, so let's take a look around the cab here. We got our instrument panel, service lights. This is service mode, so when you get ready to work on it, you know, the saw won't start and stuff like that. You got a bulb test. Hit this, and that tells you if all your safety lights, you know, like the door, you got a button here, and the hood opens up, or the door. Pilot on and off. Pilot on is this green button right here. If you don't hit that pilot button, the hydraulics don't work, so you can't do anything. And then we got a temperature gauge, RPM, or fuel. This little computer tells us how warm the oil temp is, and what the motor's running at, oil pressure, what we're using for fuel per hour, gallons per hour, all that stuff. And then obviously, you know, like you can change the modes and all that. Service lights up there, that's lights on the inside of the motor compartment. That door opens the big door where the motor's at. Anti-stall, swing brake on and off. That's for the swinging back and forth. If the swing brake is on, as soon as you let go of the swing function, then it stops automatically. It's rougher than hell, so I don't like running them with the swinging brake on. Some people do. So it's obviously just up to the operator. Work lights. These things, the windows in them, they get so dirty and scratched up so easily that it's obviously, or not obviously, but it's easier to run them at night. So there's lights all the way around. I mean, there's more lights on this thing than a landing strip. Got a fuel heater. That's for working in super cold climates. You know, when you're getting down below zero and all that, when your fuel starts gelling up. Throttle is a push button. Here's our AC and our heater, AC on, off. Here's that pilot button again. This red button here is the fire suppression. If this thing catches on fire, you hit that button, and it's got fire extinguishers all over the place. It'll set them off. Oh, we got a horn for the tracks. The drive motors, low and high. And then you got your cooling fan. You clean it, so that turns it around backwards. Full on, auto, it just kicks on whenever it gets too warm or whatever. With this clean, that's pretty cool. If you put it on auto and you first start the machine up, the fan won't automatically start blowing or turning. So you hit that clean, and it'll go backwards. So everything that it's been the dust and all that that's been sucking in, trying to cool the motor, it blows it out. That's a pretty good feature. I think that's cooler than heck. And then this here button here, this is to actually start the saw. So you can fire this thing up and do all the functions without the saw being on. And so that's a really cool feature. And then I was wrong, I'm sorry. This here is the fire suppression button. You pull the pin, hit the fire. So, and then a CB, and there's quite a bit of room behind the cab here. Coat hanger. The speaker went crap on us, so we only got one. We got a radio there. So you gotta have a radio. You run equipment, you gotta have a radio. Jiminy crickets. So here's our controls. You know, this is your boom and all that. And this side's the swing, and then you can see the stick boom there is up and down, and then all the buttons here. Each button's got a different function, and then it's got a trigger on the bottom here. If you watch the head, you hit this trigger, turns the head that way. Same thing on this one. You hit this trigger, turns the head back. It's pretty cool. So it's not self-leveling. It is a leveling, but not self-leveling. You've got to, let's turn this radio off, turn this CB off. Anyway, you got these buttons right here. There's these two and this one, these two and this one work the leveler on it. So that's kind of cool. In a sense, you get on pretty steep ground, you know, you can level it up, but I think it also gives a guy a false sense of security, so they end up going into places that they shouldn't be because it doesn't seem like it's that steep. Now, one thing, I don't know if you've noticed, if you look out, it's not very high off the ground, which I like that. Part of the reason that log loaders are so high off the ground, obviously, is so that you can see up over top of the log trucks when you're loading them. And the higher up you get, the more insecure you feel about being on steep ground, because you're looking out that door and it just makes it worse than it really is. So these low cabs, you end up getting to go a lot steeper ground and all that. I know it kind of sounds funny, but if you've ever run equipment, you know what I mean. After you get used to running equipment on steeper ground, then it doesn't really matter. But so, like I say, we're just taking this thing out to catch the lowboy. This is my new camera. This is the first video with it, so I hope for what I paid for it, the thing should have come with a producer and an editor and all that. But so hopefully we'll get this one uploaded here. Oh, it won't be this evening, but within the next day. Yeah, today's Friday. It won't get uploaded tonight. Friday's pretty busy around the old West Coast logging household. I can guarantee you that came out. So, alright, well, I just wanted to shoot a short video, see how this camera worked out. I don't see why it's not going to do a really good job, but you never know. So, well, you all stay safe. Get along.